Have you ever loved someone who made you feel like you were the problem? Have you ever given everything you had to a relationship only to watch the person you loved slowly drift away? Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, replaying every moment, asking yourself the same devastating question, what did I do wrong? Because if you have, I need you to listen to me very carefully. You did nothing wrong. Nothing. Let me say that again so it can sink in. You did nothing wrong. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but it doesn't feel true. You've been told so many times that you were too much, too needy, too emotional, too demanding, that you pushed them away with your expectations, that you scared them off with your vulnerability, and I also know that somewhere deep inside, a part of you started to believe it. A part of you started shrinking yourself down, dimming your light, walking on eggshells in your own relationship, changing who you are just to keep them from pulling away. But here is what I want you to understand today. That person who kept pulling away, who went silent when things got real, who created distance when you tried to get closer, who made you feel like your love was a burden they had to carry, that person was not broken because of you. And you are not broken because of them. Today, I am going to share with you something that will change the way you see every relationship you have ever had, every relationship you're in right now, and every relationship that is still waiting for you in the future. I have spent 12 years studying a very specific type of person. A person who loves deeply, but fears connection even more deeply. A person who runs from intimacy the moment it starts to feel real. A person who pushes away the very thing they want most, because the want itself feels terrifying. And what I discovered during those 12 years, after thousands of conversations, after endless research, after sitting across from people who had their hearts shattered and did not even know why, will reshape everything you thought you understood about love, about loss, and about yourself. But only if you stay with me until the very end. Because the truth I am about to share with you is not just information. It is transformation. It is liberation. It is the moment you finally stop carrying guilt that was never yours to carry in the first place. So if you have ever felt like you were losing yourself in a relationship, if you have ever wondered why the person you loved seemed to love you back only in glimpses, if you have ever been left confused, exhausted, and questioning your own worth, then this video was made for you. And I need you to watch every single second of it, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the key to a freedom you have been searching for. A freedom that starts with understanding, and understanding starts right here. So take a deep breath. Let go of everything you thought you knew, and open your mind to a truth that has the power to heal something inside of you that has been hurting for far too long. You deserve to understand, and more importantly, you deserve to heal. Now let us begin. What if I told you that everything you have been told about why people pull away is wrong? What if the reason your partner kept creating distance had nothing to do with your love, nothing to do with your intensity, and nothing to do with anything you did or did not do? Let me take you back to the very beginning. 12 years ago, I was sitting across from someone I cared about deeply. We had been together for over a year. We had talked about the future. We had made plans. And then one day, without any warning, they shut down completely. No fight, no argument, just silence. They stopped calling. They stopped reaching out. They created a wall so high that nothing I said or did could climb over it. And I did everything. I gave them space. I texted less. I tried to be understanding. I tried to be patient. I tried to be perfect. Nothing worked. So I did what most people would do. I started searching for answers. I read book after book. I watched video after video. I talked to counselor after counselor. And everywhere I looked, I found the same message. You pushed them away. You were too much. You smothered them. You needed too much. You were the reason they ran. And I believed it. I believed it completely. I carried that belief like a weight on my chest every single day. I thought if I could just learn to need less, want less, feel less, I would finally be safe. I would finally be enough for someone to stay. But here is what nobody told me. That belief was a lie. A beautiful, devastating lie that kept me trapped in a cycle of self-blame for years. The truth is this. People who pull away are not running from your love. They are running from their own fear of love. Think about that for a moment. When someone creates distance after intimacy, when someone goes silent after things get real, when someone sabotages something beautiful before it can fully grow, they are not rejecting you. They are rejecting a version of themselves that your love is asking them to become. Your love did not push them away. Your love terrified them because it demanded something they did not know how to give. And this is where everything changed for me. I started studying avoidant attachment with fresh eyes. I stopped looking at what the person who left was doing and started asking why. I began to understand that every time they pulled away, it was not because you were too much. It was because somewhere along the way, being close became associated with pain. Being vulnerable became associated with loss. Being truly seen became associated with danger. They learned that love was not safe, not because of you, but because of something that happened long before you ever entered their life. So every time you reached for them, every time you tried to get closer, every time you asked for connection, your words did not land as love. They landed as a threat, not because you were dangerous, but because closeness itself had become painful in their mind. This was the moment everything shifted. I stopped trying to change them. I stopped trying to fix them. I stopped trying to love them hard enough to break through their walls. Because I finally understood. You cannot love someone out of a fear they learned to survive with. You can only show them that the fear no longer needs to exist. But that work cannot start until you understand what you are really dealing with. The old beliefs kept me stuck. I thought if I just loved them better, if I just understood them more, if I just gave them what they were missing, they would finally stay. But that was never the answer. The answer was something entirely different, something simpler, something that completely changed the game for me. And I am about to share that with you right now. Here is the truth that changed everything for me. You cannot make someone love you. You cannot reason your way into their heart. You cannot beg or explain or prove yourself enough to erase a fear that was planted long before you met. That is not how the human mind works. That is not how love works. So what is the one thing that actually changes everything? You change, not them, you. And I do not mean you become harder or colder or more detached. I do not mean you learn to care less or want less or love with one hand tied behind your back. That is not the answer. That is just another form of running. What I mean is this: you stop making their fear your problem. You stop treating their wounds as your responsibility to fix. You stop shrinking yourself down to fit inside a space they are too scared to enter. Listen to me carefully, because this is the part that most people miss entirely. When you chase someone who is pulling away, you are not showing them love. You are showing them that their fear has power over you. You are confirming to their nervous system that closeness is dangerous, because look, someone is trying to get close right now, and it is uncomfortable and overwhelming, and I need to escape. But when you remain steady, when you hold your ground without pushing, when you stay calm without chasing, when you continue to live your life fully while they figure out what they need to figure out, that is when something extraordinary happens. Your calm becomes the message. Your peace becomes the proof. Your ability to exist happily with or without them becomes the very thing that starts rewriting the fear inside their mind. Think about that for a moment. The reason they could never stay was because every time they pulled away, you came after them. Every time they went silent, you filled the silence with desperate texts. Every time they created distance, you tried to close it immediately. That pattern taught them one thing. Love means someone will chase me until I feel suffocated, and then I have to run further to breathe. But what if you broke that pattern completely? What if instead of chasing, you simply lived? What if you gave them space without guilt trips? What if you showed them that you can survive without them? That you are whole on your own? That your world does not collapse when they pull back? That changes everything, because now they are not running from you. They are running from themselves. And the distance they create no longer has an audience. The silence they seek is met with your peace. The wall they build is not something you keep crashing into. And something inside them begins to shift. Not because you convinced them, not because you explained yourself, not because you fought for them, but because you stopped fighting and started living. This is the one thing nobody talks about. You do not attract avoidance by being perfect or patient or giving endlessly until you have nothing left. You attract them by becoming someone who does not need them to be anything other than who they are. Someone who can hold space without expecting return. Someone whose love is a river, not a demand. The moment you stop needing them to choose you, something inside them starts choosing you on their own. Not because you pushed, because you let go. That is the shift. That is the answer, and it starts with you and only you. So where does that leave you? It leaves you free. Completely and utterly free. Every single day you spent wondering what you did wrong. Every night you stayed awake questioning your worth. Every moment you blamed yourself for someone else's fear. It ends today, right here. right now. You loved with everything you had. You gave when others would have walked away. You stayed when it was hard. You showed up with your whole heart when other people would have protected themselves. That is not weakness. That is the bravest thing any human being can do. You were never the problem. You were the only person in that relationship brave enough to feel something real. Let that sink in. Let it settle into your bones. Because the moment you truly believe that, everything changes. The way you see yourself changes. The way you enter future relationships changes. The way you carry yourself in this world changes. You no longer walk into rooms wondering if you are enough. You no longer shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You no longer apologize for having needs, for wanting closeness, for asking for the bare minimum that every human being deserves. You are not too much. You were never too much. You were simply offering your love to someone who had not yet learned how to hold it. And that is not your failure. That is their loss. Now I want you to hear something else, something that might be the most important thing I say in this entire video. The fact that you are still here, the fact that you watched every second of this, the fact that you refused to give up on understanding, on healing, on becoming better, that tells me everything I need to know about who you are. You are someone who wants more, someone who refuses to accept pain as permanent, someone who still believes that love is possible even after being hurt, someone who is ready to stop carrying weight that was never yours to carry. That person is powerful beyond measure. And the future that awaits you is brighter than you can even see right now, because you now understand what most people never learn. You understand that you cannot change someone else. You cannot fix what was never broken in you. You cannot love someone into healing if they are not ready to heal themselves, but you can choose you. You can protect your peace. You can walk away from patterns that drain you. You can attract people who meet you with the same courage you bring to every connection. The version of your life that exists on the other side of this understanding is extraordinary. It is full of relationships where you are not walking on eggshells. It is full of connections where you are not alone in your vulnerability. It is full of a love that does not require you to dim yourself down or beg to be chosen or prove over and over again that you are worth staying for. You are already worth staying for. You always were. So take this truth with you. Hold it close when things get hard. Remind yourself on the days when old feelings creep back in that you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become, and you are choosing to become free. Go build the life you deserve. You have everything you need inside of you right now. You have always had it. Now go prove it to yourself.